59, you know. Yeah. This was back in 2001, the second round of the standard register ping. Do you still remember how you felt at that time when you realized that you made a history in women's golf?
Yeah, I do. You know, that was obviously a very memorable time. It was March 16th, and, you know, I started on the back nine. It was a par 5, and I got off to a very good start. I made, 8 birdies in a row.
Wow.
So I knew it was going to be a good day, yes. And then, I made the par on the 9th hole, and then I made the turn and birdied 4 in a row. So I was 12 under after 13. So I felt like something special was happening. Made a few pars, and then I birdied 17. And I remember coming to 18, just knowing, what was going on. And, I had a putt for 58. And then it kind of rolled by 3 feet. It was a long 3 feet. But I looked at the putt, and I remember gathering my thoughts and, trying to be cool and calm and very positive. And then, I told myself, if you miss this putt, it's a good round.
Yeah.
But if I make it, it's history. So I just told myself to focus and trust myself. I've hit, thousands of 3-footers. And then I went in and just kind of leaped in the arms of my caddy, and it was quite the day. And where it just felt like everything worked. I hit every fairway, I hit every green.
Wow.
I made a lot of putts, and it was a great day, of course. And I was paired with Meg Mallon, and actually my sister. Of all the players you can play with, I was paired with the 2 of them. So it was a good pairing, and I'll never forget that day.
That time, what was your focus on?
My focus was just go out there and play. And I remember thinking, I never thought about the second putt. I would read the putt, and I would see, 2 feet on the right, or maybe 5 foot on the left, and I would just make a good putt, and it went in. I never thought about trying to be cautious. I never tried to just, lag it up there and getting it close. I always just kind of felt very comfortable. Of course, if you hit every green, you have a lot of putts, but I just never really thought about the consequences of missing a putt. And in the end, of course, the adrenaline is pumping. You hit it further, and I was nervous, of course.
Yeah.
But I just never really got ahead of myself. I kept staying in the present and kept thinking to myself, one shot at a time.
Did you nervous that time?
Absolutely, yes. I get nervous when I play. You might not see it from the outside, but certainly on the inside.
Yeah. One of my personal curiosity, what's your score right now?
Oh, what I would shoot now?
Yeah.
I don't really play. I don't play very many holes. Maybe I've done 10 rounds this year, but I really don't go out and put a score together. So I couldn't really tell you, but it's certainly not a 59. I can tell you that. But I make a few pars and a few birdies, but I make a few more bogeys than I used to do.
Yeah.
저는 정말 이 59타 어떻게 하면 치는지,
네.
어떤 스윙을 해야 59타를 칠 수 있는지 한번 물어보겠습니다. How do you swing to shoot 59?
Good question. Well, you obviously have to be very relaxed. I think it's really important when you go and play not to have a score in your mind. Just go out there and hit one shot at a time. I always tell people that the most important shot is the one that you're going to hit now.
I see.
Not focus on shots you hit in the past, and not focus on shots you're going to hit later. When you stand over the ball, you obviously have to, trust your decision and commit to the shot. And and the fewer shots, the better, of course.
Yeah. Let's see a few swings.
All right.
Wow.
Good shot.
Didn't change at all.
You don't think so? Well, thank you.
Every time I see your swing, it looks really simple and compact.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Do you practice a lot?
No, I don't practice at all. So maybe it looks like that, but it doesn't feel like this. I had another one.
Wow. Every shot is straight.
It must be the clubs. So I just grabbed a little pitching wedge here. Hit a few more.
Good shot.
Nice.
Thank you. You know, I think when you don't play much, it's very hard to feel, you know, the connection, everything working together. You know, the arms, upper body, and legs. Because the timing is off. You know, it just doesn't feel the same. So every time I go and hit some shots, it's not often, but just trying to feel, you know, swing very loose. Just trying to make everything work together.
Together.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost some distance since I stopped playing because I don't play. It's to do, you know, obviously with the timing. But when I can get the legs together with my arms and then trying to stay down a little bit and not trying to help the ball up in the air too much. And then swing to the target. So, and that's really for anybody at home that don't play that much. You know, lower the expectations, go out there and have a good time. You know, it's very different if you played a lot and then they don't play. It's easy to be so hard on yourself. So try not to be so hard. I'm trying anyway, so you should do it too.
네, 아니카 스윙 중에 가장 큰 이렇게 좀 돋보이는 하나의 포지션이 있죠.
네, 그렇습니다.
네. 자, 그게 바로 많은 분들이 좀 의아하게 생각을 하는 부분인데요. 제가 한번 질문을 해볼 텐데요. 바로 이 치고 나서 머리가 이렇게 같이 좀 따라가는 동작이 있어요. 제가 한번 질문을 해보겠습니다. When you swing, after impact, your head kind of follow the ball flight? Is that the things what you wanted to do, or is it kind of habit?
Well, it started a long time ago, actually. I had a typical junior golf swing. You know, I would obviously have a good setup and everything, but when I would swing, I would hang back very much on my right side. And so, which means I was flipping my hands, and I had a tendency to hit a low hook. And it works when you're hitting, you know, low hooks. But, you know, if you want to try and get the ball up in the air, if you try to, you know, get some height in the ball, you really have to transfer the weight a little bit from the right side to the left side. So my coach, you know, many years ago, I was a junior golfer. He said, Annika, if you're going to play this game for a long time, if you want to hit the ball a little higher, you need to make sure that you transfer the weight from this side forward. So he said, try and just feel like, you know, the head is moving with the spine. So you're rotating a little faster than hanging down. So we started just with a drill, literally standing here, feeling like my head was just turning together, you know, up here and around. So I would hit a few shots, and it probably looked something like this. And I'm not looking at all, just moving my head forward. And I started to hit the ball higher. I was starting to transfer my weight. I finished up on the left side, and it just felt so effortless. So I told my coach, well, I think I got it. So that was a drill that turned into my swing move. And today, you know, even though I have a few things I got to work on, but essentially I'm just transferring the weight better, and my head is moving with the spine. And what that does is it obviously takes away some of the pressure on my lower back because my head is already moving. A lot of people, when they hit shots, they always say, keep your head down. So then you see something like this. The body is rotating, the head is still down, but you put a lot of pressure on your back. And it's very hard to transfer the weight. So a lot of times people hit it low. And if they don't flip over their hands, you know, the ball is going all over the place.
But a lot of people, a lot of coaches, they say, look at the dimple. Do you really see the ball when you at impact?
I look at the ball at setup. I look at the ball in my takeaway. But once I get, you know, roughly, you know, to here, to my hips, you know, I start moving my head because that's where you can see my spine is moving and my head is going with it. So right at impact, if you would take a photo of my swing, and at impact, most likely you will see my eye line over here. So no, I'm not looking at the dimple because I'm already on my way forward. And the good thing in golf, the ball is laying still, so I don't have to look at it anymore.
So what is different, your head up and amateur golfer head up? What is different?
Very good question.
Yeah.
You know, when I set up, or I would recommend to anybody, when you set up, you have a little bit of, you know, flex in your knee, just like any athletic move, whether it's tennis or basketball. We always have a little flex in our knees. And when you swing back, you like to keep that, you know, the angle about the same. You rotate the upper body. And then when you come down, you know, you should really have the pressure going down at it. So, you know, instead of going down like this, we should, a lot of golfers are coming up. And you can see that this angle is, there's no more angle. They straighten their legs. So you will see a lot of this. It's I'm not really sure why they do it. It could be a lot of different things. But one thing I see often is that they're afraid to hit down. I mean, the power needs to go down. You know, if you're going to hit this ball up. People, you know, in golf, to me, everything is the opposite. If you want the ball to go up, you got to hit down. But people think they got to go up to hit it up. So they set up properly and then they swing and it looks like this. We've seen many of those, but you come down here, they're afraid and they raise their legs. Therefore, the head races and it's obviously very hard to swing through. The key to hitting a good shot is to stay flexed in your knees through the shot, but you can rotate the head. It's okay to rotate, just don't lift it up and down. And a lot of times it's because they use their legs.
Keep spine angle and very important right
Yes.
leg. Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good tip when you, if you look at somebody swing, you want to keep, I call it the reverse C. It's a C this way. And you want to keep this C the whole time. If you straighten it up like an I or an L, you know you're in trouble. Just keep that C rotating, and I like to move my C in the direction I'm going, but you keep it, and that's how you transfer the weight and then go through.
Is there any good drill? Keep your head rotating.
For me, it was the drill of just kind of moving the head forward. Another good drill is people that have a tendency to just kind of hang back. I always tell them, take a step forward, almost like you're playing in a downhill. Really feel like you're moving forward. Golf is about transferring weight. You start in a setup, roughly 50-50. Then we shift our weight over here, 20-80. And then you come down through, you literally want to be over on your left side, 100%. So the movement of going forward, if you hang back here, it could be that you're not rotating your hips. It could be you're just doing arms. There could be a lot of things. But the key is to make sure that you swing forward. If you want to do a drill, keep the club really low and forward. So,
low and forward.
Yeah, and another way to do that is, looking at the camera and just, I like to say I'm greeting my friends. Hello, hello. Make sure that this shoulder is forward, to the target. Greeting it, make sure the shoulder is forward. You're saying hello to somebody over here. You don't say hello over here. So really feel like you're shaking hand with somebody in front of you with your right arm. So you get that kind of torque in your upper body and you see the twist in my hips.
I see. At golf, it's wrist. For you, is a wrist pretty important or is not?
Very important.
What do you use for your wrist?
I mean, the wrist is, something I see all the time. And I think somewhere somebody was talking about you can't use your wrist. But I think it really starts at your grip. You want to make sure you have a good grip. And I always talk about having 6 fingers in your golf grip. I don't know if you can see, but obviously we got the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then I like to use the cushion here as my 6th finger. Make sure it's underneath. So you really should be able to just hold it with one hand because the cushion is holding it. If my grip was more up here, you can see here, I couldn't be able to do it because the cushion is not holding it. So make sure that you always have it underneath the cushion and the thumb is resting nicely on the grip. And you can see that if you use a glove. I don't have a glove today, but you can see where you have the worn out areas. And if you don't have it right here, most likely you're not having it under the cushion. So that's one tip I want you to take up from this is make sure it's underneath and not up here. You can see the difference pretty much because if you have the right grip, you are going to be able to use able to cock the wrist in the backswing, and that's what it's all about. It's about using the wrists in the right way. I like to say using it this way. It's almost like you have a hammer and you're going to put a nail into the wall. If this was a hammer, you know, you would hammer it this way, right? You wouldn't do with the whole arm. You would be hitting this nail in the wall all day long. You want to make sure you have some leverage. Use this, and that's what golf is about. I see a lot of women especially, they want to have some power, but they're not swinging with their wrists. They're just doing just arms and shoulders. But I mean, you want to set it here. You want to get this 90 degree in the backswing, and you want to get the 90 degree in your follow through. And that's really where the power is coming down at the bottom, letting the club bounce. I'm using my wrist the whole time, and that's when you get some power and the swing is moving forward. So I would say wrist is really, really important. And again, if you don't have the right grip, it's very hard to do it. And also when you come to the top, at the very top you can see, you know, I preferably want to have the club pointing to the target at the top. There's a lot of different swing thoughts, but to me, you want to have 90 degrees pointing here. When you start the downswing, you're keeping this angle as long as you can. I would say the longer you can keep it, obviously takes a lot of strength, but then you can get this movement or where the wrist coming over here. It's not a movement of rotating. A lot of people think that this is releasing. I'm not really doing anything. I'm just using my shoulder and keeping this angle the whole time. And that is really important in golf.
Well, that was very nice lessons. Yeah. And when do you make that 90 degree? When do you start making 90 degree?
Yeah, so, you know, there's obviously a lot of different swing thoughts. For me, you know, I've always felt like, you know, you're starting one-piece motion with the club and the shoulders creating a Y. But I like to say roughly around the hip. You know, it kind of, because if I take it straight back, eventually I can't go any further. I mean, I can keep going, but now you know, my center has moved too much this way, because you still want to make sure that you're standing, you know, with the spine, and you know, you're rotating around. So whenever I'm rotating literally here, you know, if you look at the swing in a whole circle, it's like a clock or a watch. 12, 6, you know, back here you have 9 and you have 3. So I like to say that you're starting at the, you know, at the 6 here and turn up here, and that's when I start going up, coming up here. So, you know, it's funny when people say, where do you start? I guess I've hit so many balls in my life, I can't tell you exactly. It's just the movement of, you know, when the arm is straight, literally, if you just want to take it, put the club down on the ground and have the thumb, you know, I like to just get the thumb to move in this kind of arc movement.
Power. If I don't practice, I lose power, but your swing is very powerful. How to maintain your swing power when you're swinging?
Yeah. You know, I have lost a lot of power too, unfortunately, because I don't play. It has a lot to do with the timing. And, you know, now I reached an age where I feel like I'm not as strong as I used to be when I was playing on tour. So, you know, I think the key is really to be able to swing within yourself and make sure that you are swinging, you know, in like a energetic swing, but you're using the energy in the right places. You know, when you don't play a lot, it's easy to spend a lot of energy early on and a lot of energy here, and there's no energy coming down. So for me nowadays, you know, I just try to swing smooth and maybe shorten my backswing, and then feel from here that all my energy is coming down and forward. So it's just, you know, through years and through with the age, things just change, but just really take it smooth together, and from here move the whole body down. But don't forget to use your legs. I feel like I got to use more legs today than I did before, because my upper body is not as strong as it used to be. So, you know, through time we change our swings, and you can see that with every professional golfer or with any golfer. You know, when we're younger, especially women, you see long swings, you know, very flexible here. But really what happens is you lose a lot of the energy. Really feel like it's a little bit more tighter, you know, keeping it together and then swing through here rather than just doing arms, because arms, you know, we don't have a lot of strength in our arms, unfortunately. You really feel like we swinging together, and don't be afraid to use your legs. They're strong because we walk on them every day. There's a lot of positives, so don't be afraid.
아니카 선수가 이제 그 힘에 좀 이렇게 힘이 빠진다, 나이가 들어 좀 빠진다라고 이제 좀 질문을 했는데 그 스윙에서 이제 노하우는 바로 이 백스윙에서 이렇게 에너지 소모보다는 다운스윙 때 좀 빠르게 치는 다운스윙에서 에너지를 좀 이렇게 사용을 하는 좀 팁을 알려준 것 같아요.
네, 백스윙은 좀 심플하게 그리고 다운스윙은 파워풀하게
네.
이렇게 정리를 하면 될 것 같습니다.
그리고 또 하체 쓰는 거에 대해서 얘기를 해줬는데
네.
좀 하체 쓰는 게 또 궁금해서 제가
네.
또 가만히 있질 못하겠어요.
네.
You just meant about how to use lower body. Is there any tips to use a lower body?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are lots of drills to do that, but if we talk about the lower body, for me, it's the lower body gives them more power and helps me speed up the club head. But I really don't use a lot of legs on shorter shots. I mean, I have a pitching wedge here, but I think for consistency, you want to make sure that the upper body is really working more on shorter shots, and then the longer shots are really start using your legs, really driving it. And for me, it kind of goes back to what we talked about, this reverse C. You get up to the top and you keep here, and let's say I have a longer club here, really feel like I'm starting with the lower body. A lot of people swing up, they might not have the right grip to start with, so they lift up the arms. And if you lift up the arms, there's really not much rotation in the rest of the body. So we just kind of drop our arms, and then everything just kind of ends down there. I like to say when you swing up here, it's almost like a rubber band that you twist. You twist and twist and twist, and then you let go, and then you get a lot of spin and a lot of power. Look at that as your golf swing. You start out here, and we wind it up to the top, and then from here, you got to start with your legs, because if I start with my legs, the upper body would follow slowly but surely, and when you get down to the bottom, you can see that the lower body has moved a lot more than the upper body. You can see that my shoulders are square, but the hips are already pointing towards a target, and that's really what I feel is a good way to get some speed. And you can see it in the players that hit it a really long way. They've already, their lower body, is way over here. There's hardly any weight on your left, and you can see how, shoulders are square, and then they swing through, but it really helps to generate some power. So feel like the lower legs is starting your swing, not moving sideways, but it's more rotating around, and feel like this reverse knee is coming across a little bit more.
올라왔어요. 네.